Hey yo, it's your boy AncientAlbatross of Cypher Unlimited here, flying again solo. But before we get started, just as a quick reminder, be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. It's a great help for our channel, and we really appreciate all the support we've gotten so far. But without further ado, we are here with a very special guest tonight, the writer of the Entropic Isle, AncientAlbatross of Ancient Sins' Scribbles. Say hello to everyone, Ancient. Hey y'all, AncientAlbatross here. Super happy to be here and excited to talk about the Entropic Isle. Thanks again for having me on. Oh, no problem at all, Ancient. You know we love having Cypher creators on. Gotta show that support for all that Cypher love. That being said, let's dive in. Tell the audience a little about yourself and your gaming history. So like I said before, I'm AncientAlbatross, and I'm the lead designer of Ancient Sins' Scribbles. I do all the writing stuff and whatnot, designing the games, so on and so forth. The other half of Ancient Sins' Scribbles is my husband Leo, who goes by Sin Online. He does all the art stuff. He has a very vibrant, unique style. I love it. That's why I'm very happy that he agreed to do the art for the book. But for my gaming experience, I've been gaming about a little over 10 years now. I guess a bit more than 10 years now. Oof, time flies, damn. But I started with 3.5 D&D and Pathfinder 1 with Anthony as my dungeon master. And you know Anthony, you work with him on your show here. It was a fun enough time. It was good enough time. Fun hobby and all that, TTRPGs and whatnot, very fun. But it's just something wasn't clicking. That is until Anthony decided to run me in a game of Cypher System, and oh my god, did everything just click into place then. It was just everything I wanted to see in a TTRPG. It had like a narrative focus. The character creation focused on creating interesting characters instead of like min-maxing or something like that, or creating a good build. You were just making a nice character, a cool character. That was awesome. And I really also like the resource management aspect. That helped a lot, or excuse me, I like to see it a lot in games as just, it's a fun way to interact with your character or the game itself. Just the fact that the pools represent like your body's ability to handle things or whatnot, just I love that. And it was just, everything just clicked into place after playing my first game of Cypher System, and then the rest is history. That is so awesome. We love that Cypher was what made you shift your paradigm. And you've shifted your paradigm pretty dramatically for your first Cypher System open license product, the Entropic Isle. I've been lucky to have a great behind the scenes look at your work on this project. But can you tell our audience exactly what is the Entropic Isle? I've definitely changed things up a bit with the Cypher System and the Entropic Isle. The quick TLDR is that the Entropic Isle is a gritty Cypher System hack set in a hyperpop dark fantasy world. Hyperpop here just meaning extra or vivid or vibrant, you know what I mean. But it's a Cypher System hack in that I've changed the way some of the core mechanics work in the system to really capture that dark and gritty feeling. And yeah, I really feel like the way I've changed the system really do that. They really help you get immersed in that feeling. And the way I've changed the system was really heavily inspired by Mörk Borg and Troika quite a bit too. They're kind of similar. But if you've read those books, you will 100% see what I mean when you go and read and compare them. But like, for example, there are no tiers for levels in the Entropic Isle. You just simply advance, you get stronger. Just like in those two other books, Mörk Borg and Troika, aspects of your character just continue to grow as you advance. You don't really keep track of your levels or whatever. Another Mörk Borg inspired change is types. The types are replaced by archetypes. Again, this is very heavily inspired by the classes you see in Mörk Borg, where they have a few starting abilities and skills, and it really makes the character unique, and that's where their uniqueness comes from. And a quick rundown on the changes you see in the other system changes I made are there are no weapon restrictions. Anybody can wear any weapon they want. You don't got to worry about whether it's heavy or medium or whether your character can wear that. Anybody can wear anything. We just got rid of that. bog things down. Anybody can dual wield. A lot of people mention dual wielding when they're talking about making a character, and it's not really super specified in Cypher Raw, but we went ahead and made a concrete rule for it. You can learn, and instead of like it's like core Cypher System, you learn your abilities through like progressing your focus and your type. In the Entropic Isle, you'll just get new abilities randomly as you level, or excuse me, as you advance, as you get stronger. And you can also, those random abilities are called chaos magic. And yeah, the chaos magic will indeed make your character feel stronger. And then there's a spell casting magic, which is much safer than chaos magic. It's just something you can spend XP to learn. And if you've read these Cypher rules before, you kind of might know what spell casting rules is. It's basically just that rule. I populated a list of 20 spell casting magics for you to learn. Just spells from the CSRD that I really enjoyed, or abilities. You also get a powerful ultimate ability from your archetype that you can only use once per day, or if you're lucky, if you roll a 20 when you use it, you can use it again right afterwards. But I really enjoyed that aspect of being able to overcome a situation with an ultimate ability, so to speak. And something you could do once a day was an easy way to encapsulate that. There's going to be crits in combat. Crits in combat, again, they already kind of exist, but within the Entropic Isle, not only is it more codified, gamified, whatever, so your weapons will deal double damage, or you'll take double damage from a crit. But on top of that, you will also still get your GM intrusion or your major effect. We're not restricting it. You don't choose, they all happen. But if you roll a 1, you can always re-roll it with an XP. And one last change I want to mention is that the character sentence has changed, in that a lot of the stuff provided from your descriptor and your foci don't provide mechanical benefits. You still have your character sentence, it's just more to aid role playing. So there's a positive descriptor and a negative descriptor, as well as a bad habit, which kind of replaces the foci in the sentence, because it's a verb, it's something you do. But again, no mechanical benefits with those 3 aspects of your character sentence. They're just there to aid your role playing. And I really feel like that's what the essence of the character sentence was to begin with, was to really show how your character is supposed to be, what their personality is supposed to be like. And I really wanted to go back to the bare bones essentials of that, with not providing any mechanical benefits, but again, you have that flavor to guide your role playing, which is what I think is awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited for these changes, and hopefully people like to see these changes in the system as much as I do, because it's been a blast to play with. That does sound really cool. Mörk Borg and Troika are super cool books, and it's nice to see some aspects of those books being used in Cypher System. But speaking of Cypher System, you also cite Gods of the Fall as one of your main inspirations for the Entropic Isle. Can you speak more on that? Oh yeah, certainly. Gods of the Fall is probably my favorite Cypher System sitting now. For those of you who know me, who've seen me before, know that Predation was that for a while, and it's kind of neck and neck now. Predation, Gods of the Fall, I guess it depends on how I'm feeling on the day. But Gods of the Fall definitely very up there. And I actually playtested the beginnings of the Entropic Isle within the Gods of the Fall world. If the Gods of the Fall was available for writing for in this capacity for the Cypher System open license and whatnot, I probably would have written it in that world. I love it. It's so cool. And for those of you unfamiliar with the Gods of the Fall setting, it's a Cypher System dark fantasy setting where it's gonna sound familiar. The heavens have crashed into the world and all the gods are dead, and permanently changed the world going forward. And the book takes place nearly 100 years in the future, where the people that are left on the world, the mortals, they've grown to hate the old gods and the old ways. They feel abandoned. They feel resentment. There's even factions that ensure that anything divine is destroyed. But the PCs play as up and coming gods because divine power is returning to the world. And they play as people who have just found their godhood, and yeah, it's kind of very fun to play with that idea of being an up and coming god in a world that's hostile against gods because of everything that's happened. And yeah, if you've heard about the Entropic Isles premise, you know it's very similar. I've really just changed up the fact that instead of not knowing what happened, we know that the Chaos God is the one who toppled the heavens and changed the world and made it what it is. But in the Entropic Isle, the PCs don't play as up and coming gods. They play as just people in a magic filled chaotic world just trying to get by. Which again is another Mörk Borg influence. In Mörk Borg, you don't play as these mighty superheroes or anything. You just play as people trying to get by. Like, that's kind of the best way to put it. Like, and I really enjoyed that premise, and I wanted to see it play out within Cypher System. So, yeah, definitely was a big part of how I fused the two settings together, so to speak, to make my own thing. And yeah, there's you'll see within the book there's a lot of nice setting locations, like the mountain range that got destroyed when the heavens toppled into the earth. There's a looping sea because the chaos magic actually locked everyone on this continent. So the sea loops. You go from one coast to the other coast if you sail. There's a nice city in the middle that all the neighboring regions have like a what is it, like a commune there, like a tribunal system where they like oversee the land and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely I've taken those two worlds of Gods of the Fall, Mörk Borg, and kind of mashed them together and made them my own with my own world. And yeah, I'm hoping people enjoy it. I've enjoyed writing it, and I feel like I've gotten a lot of nice flavorful bits in there. Definitely gonna be a lot of fun adventures to be had in the Entropic Isle. You are definitely right. Gods of the Fall is an amazing Cypher setting and a wonderful source of inspiration. Gods of the Fall also had some wonderful, unique artifacts and ciphers to the setting. Will the Entropic Isle also have its own ciphers and artifacts? Excellent question. The Entropic Isle, as it currently stands, will include 10 unique and brand new ciphers and artifacts, and on top of that, we're introducing a new item type, Cursed Artifacts. And Cursed Artifacts will have a permanent cost instead of a depletion roll like you see in regular artifacts, but the permanent cost will be things like lowering your pools or lowering your other parts of your stats permanently, like your edge or your effort. You'll permanently lose some of those while you're wearing it. But while you're wearing it, you also gain access to strong enabler abilities, like Ever Living. If you know that ability from the book, it's basically if you can die once a day and you come back, but if you die twice, you die. That's tied to a cursed artifact. There will be 10 of those guys as well that I've all compiled together, and that item type should be a lot of fun to include in games. I'm really looking forward to see how people enjoy that aspect. But another fun thing to note here is that we're Dark Soulsing it up with these items, and that most of these items will have like little like lore snippets within the descriptions, and not every single item will have it, just a good chunk, maybe, I don't want to say a percentage, but a good amount. And I love doing it this way because again, people love that Souls like presentation. They love that stuff. And the lore bits found while reading the book in the descriptions will help be immersive while you're reading it, and then while you're like trying to form a picture of the world, they'll add those breadcrumbs to the full lore, just like you would see in a Souls like or Soulsborne or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, that sounds super fun. People seem to really enjoy the lore presentation found in the Soulsborne games. I can see it working well in a Cypher setting book too. Now that we're talking about lore delivery, can you tell us a bit more about how deep the lore is in the Entropic Isle? What level of depth can backers expect to see? Oh, that's a good one. I've seen a few of your videos, and I know that you're kind of like me. You struggle to read much in one sitting and actually, absorb what you're reading if there's too much. This is actually another way that I was inspired by Mörk Borg. The lore presented in that book is rich and flavorful, but it's not insanely detailed. You get like a really nice, flavorful, short description to work with for basically the entirety of the world. Each entry for the regions are like that, and I wanted to do it the same way because I struggle to sit down and read, and I feel like when it's done this way, you can take those tiny tidbits of vivid detail and let your imagination run with it. And that's how I personally enjoy reading lore and, setting details and whatnot. And that's just, it's a good way to keep you from being like overwhelmed or being drowned by a ton of million details or like minutia. So yeah, I wrote the book in a way that I personally would be able to absorb, and I really like how Mörk Borg presented it. And Troika's pretty similar too. They don't go super duper into detail on everything. They just give you a lot of like setting pieces, so to speak. And yeah, I really like that. And as someone who struggles to read for an extended period of time, I feel like this format helps a lot. And if I'm struggling this way, I feel like I can't be the only one, right? Like there have to be others who need information presented in this fashion to really absorb it and become immersed in it without feeling overwhelmed. So that was my aim. So hopefully we achieve that. And right you are, because I definitely fall under that category too. Short, sweet, and flavorful is just the way we like our lore. But you mentioned something interesting. You can get your imagination going with just a few vivid details. Mörk Borg is filled with random tables for all sorts of things, and random tables are absolutely fantastic for sparking ideas from just a few details. Will the Entropic Isle also have its own random tables? Nothing gets an improviser's mind going more than random tables, so the Entropic Isle is definitely going to have quite a few tables, but not all of them will be standalone generators that are just for item inspiration or idea inspirations, like you would see like a creature generator, which we do have, an NPC generator. You will also find random tables within like creature entries, and then like for item effects or enchantment effects and more. This will give the GMs an easy way to generate unique details to add to the creature or equipment or whatever in the heat of the moment, or if during prep or whatever. For example, like the rune wolves found in the rune plains have a random magic table the GM uses to determine what magic the wolves know from being imbued by chaos. I think it was 6 entries or maybe 8, I forget. But a few of the creatures within the bestiary are like that. They have little tables to make them unique. And then along just another kind of table, we have the enchantment table, which is, I believe, a list of 20 enchantments that you can put onto equipment. Like, I believe the 3 item types are weapon, armor, and shields. Yeah, and there's a list of 20 of them. You can randomly generate enchanted weapons or gear, or you can have the players do it themselves. Like, hey, and I even wrote a little section about how much XP it should cost to make one of these or to buy one of them, so to speak. Yeah, I'm quite excited to have these tables, and they should be super helpful. And again, if you like solo play, they definitely help a ton too. And I love me some solo play. That is great to hear. Random tables have helped us out during game prep and in the heat of a game more times than we can count. Well, you've just about answered all our questions for the night. Thank you so much for coming on. Before we go though, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we get out of here that we may not have touched on during our little talk here? No, absolutely no problem at all. This was a lot of fun, and I hope we can talk more in the future. I have a feeling we'll get a chance to. As for stuff I haven't mentioned yet, just want to give a couple of quick shout outs to people who have been helping me along the way with this project. Firstly, Ketup has been an amazing source of advice, and he was super generous and gave me an editing pass with the playtest document for the Entropic Isle, so it's going to be a much nicer read. So when you're going through and reading the Entropic Isle, the playtest, and think, wow, this looks good, this reads well, give a quick thank you to KetHub. And also a quick thank you for Old Gus, or to Old Gus, for letting me lift their how to play section to edit for my book, for the Entropic Isle. And also a huge thank you for maintaining your CSRD site. It is a huge boon to the community, and it helps so many people get into the hobby with Cypher System. And yeah, keep on keeping on. It's amazing. We love you. But lastly, I want to thank my friend Brian, my good friend Brian Lukito, for all the world building advice and sick art he gave me for the book. Just wait till you see the ice golem he drew for the book. Oh my goodness, it's gonna blow your minds. But that's about it though. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we get to talk more in the future. No. Thank you for taking the time to come on and answering our questions about the Entropic Isle. Hopefully everyone out there in the audience learned more about this fantastic project, and some who were on the fence about backing now know which side of the fence they'll be landing on. The Entropic Isle has 4 days left on backer kit, so now's the time to check it out if you haven't already. You'll find a link down below in the description. Yeah, and with that, if you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord. It's the #1 fan-run community for all things multi-cook games. Discord not your thing? Join the Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but there's still plenty of great discussions being had there all the time. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube and follow us over on Twitch. We really appreciate all the support we've gotten, and we can only reach greater heights with your help. You can also donate to our coffee or buy some Cypher Unlimited merch from our merch store. Our videos will always be free, but any money from these sources go towards paying for Discord server boosts and for giveaways. And yeah, without further ado, thank you so much, and from us at the CU, we will see you later.